What's up, guys? It's your boy Armand here for E equals MCU, and it is time to get back into this Marvel content, guys. We got our first episode of Moon Knight, and I just wanted to give my quick thoughts, reactions, kind of review to it. I'm not gonna go through the whole episode and give you a full review, because I assume that if you're watching this reaction review that you have seen the episode. So just a couple things that I wanted to point out that I liked about the episode. To start with, I want to go over Oscar Isaac, and I believe that this casting of Oscar Isaac in this role is on the level of Robert Downey Jr. in Iron Man. I think he's that caliber of an actor, and I'm completely blown away with the job that he has done with this character, and how much better it's even going to get, because this episode was very much the Steven episode as far as the personalities, and his weird British accent is I know there's reports out there that he did it and Kevin Feige and them was like, what the hell are you doing? But it works. I think it works, and I think it's going to work overall for what they're doing. It's a good way to separate this character from any of the other characters, and as an actor, he really embodied it. I feel like he's going to show a lot of acting chops in this, because his physicality for each character is going to be so different. We kind of got a preview of that in this episode. So shouts out to Oscar Isaac. I think he is knocking it out of the park for this role, and I think that this is going to be something that's going to carry over for him and really cement his status and make us forget about that awful Apocalypse take. So but the episode, it starts with him as Steven. He's, this is all told from the perception of Steven throughout the episode, him not knowing whether or not things are reality or not reality. I really like their use of duality in this episode and mirrors, and the reason why is because the whole mirror aspect of it, for him having multiple personalities and mirrors representing like multi dimensions and infinite use and that sort of thing, and the way they're using that in this episode, or actually just in the series in general, to represent his different personalities, I think is brilliant. I did notice throughout the episode there was a lot of use of reflection with the water, and a lot of mirror work to kind of tease you with that, so that you don't really know which side is up or which side is right, which side is wrong. So you're kind of going, like the way they told the story, you're going through it with him as Steven, and you don't know what you're watching exactly, or on what side of the spectrum you're on. So I like how they did that. Also love the use of duality with Ethan Hawke's character and the two heads of the alligators, and then like the time piece that he has on his wrist, the tattoo, and how he uses that to judge. Duality is huge. I think it's going to play a big role in this, and duality is huge in religion, and I really like the way Marvel in general they play in this sandbox of real versus mythological, and they've done that with Eternals that I've pointed out in that review, and they're doing it with this as well. It's very much in the vein of Eternals, and how they are playing with things that are myths, so to speak, and it's like, I think that's the perfect sandbox for Marvel to play in with what's real, what's not, because it does make their content is very meta anyways, and that just adds to the meta-ness of their content. So much like Eternals, I really like what they're doing with the Egyptian gods and everything, and how he was saying that there's supposed to be 9, and she said she fired 2 of them, so it's only 7. And I mean, just the way they're playing with that whole thing, because these are real mythological, at one time worshipped as real gods. So they're really leaning into that heavy and making it really pop with the setting of everything and how they're doing this with Egypt. And I'm just kind of excited for where it's going to go. And then of course, when you get Contra popping up in his dreams, or not even really his dreams, is, you know, it's almost like his imagination that plays into it. I think what this is ultimately going to do, it's gonna, by the end of this series, we're gonna have a very interesting take on schizophrenia. Most of, if you know anybody who has any you know, any mental problems in you know, schizophrenia or multiple personalities, I think this is a good insight into how it would feel to be on the other side of that. I don't like using the term crazy when it comes to people with mental health problems. I do think that's very dismissive. I think that's something that, just where we're at in our evolutionary process as humans, we do not understand that aspect quite as well yet. But I think we will in the future as we evolve. And I think that projects like this really bring to light people who may be going through those things, or you know how it, oftentimes, sadly, it's usually the homeless you see that have these sorts of problems, and you can only imagine what they're going through if they can't function in our society with having those problems, or going in and out. But I'm getting off track. That's a whole nother discussion, you know, whole nother day. But for this series, I really like how they're balancing all of that, and I'm just enjoying the character work that Oscar Isaac's doing with developing the Steven character. And then it's like we're gonna start getting, you know, Mark, of course, I think would be next in episode 2. And then I did notice that when he looks in the mirrors, every time he's in the mirror in this episode, there's 3 of him. And I think that's because there's another personality that's coming that they haven't, like, that the third personality hasn't been revealed, but it's there. And it's one of those things you'll go and watch, and go back and watch the old ones after you watch the complete series, and be like, oh, that was there the whole time. So they're really doing a really delicate job of setting this up. I think this does have the potential to be the best Marvel series for me, and it's gonna rival WandaVision. Again, if you guys have ever watched my channel, been on my channel, you know I'm into this kind of stuff, so that's the reason why I enjoy it. I never read Moon Knight comic book or anything like that, so I'm not like a diehard, you know, stick to the comics kind of fan when it comes to a lot of these properties. My thing is the X-Men. That's the property that I, you know, collected and grew up on. But I am, as a Marvel fan, I'm just enjoying their takes on all of these characters. So, yeah, I mean, I think we're eating well, Marvel fans, and this is the start of something that's just going to continue on, hopefully continuously, for the next couple of years with Marvel content. But other takeaways I have just in the episode, I really feel like the special effects was cool. The directing was cool. How they told the story of this, you know, him using the Steven character is very heartbreaking in a way, and it's like it's kind of set up like when he had the date and she said, you know, Friday, and he's just like, are you asking me on the date? Because he had no idea. I think that's very funny. I would love to see the other side of the spectrum, like if they told another episode from Mark Spector's perspective, and it kind of like crossed over with this episode to fill in the blanks for the times that he was gone. I think that would be awesome if they did that. Not sure if they're going to, but that would be a good way to fill it in, so that you could see, just even from an acting standpoint, his physicality from Mark and how it would be different. And that's the whole reason why he got the date with the girl, as opposed to how he is as Steven. So let's see what else was cool. The sequence they shot where he wakes up in the field with the broken jaw, like when he just pops in and out of his consciousness. I thought that was a really cool scene when he was riding in the truck and everything, and how they put that together. A little sloppy with the green screen, but it is a TV series. I mean, I think the way things are getting with Marvel, they're doing so much content. I've already said, I think you're going to start seeing cracks in the armor with that sort of stuff. Like they're, you know, up against the wall when it comes to these turnaround times. So you're going to get that kind of stuff. But I do think Khonshu and how they did him was pretty cool. I thought it was kind of funny they made him sound like Gandalf the Grey. Anybody else notice that? Like his voice and stuff was kind of funny in that sense, and how he was talking to Steven. but he looked cool as hell. Like in the scenes where they teased him, like the way he popped up, man, it was really cool. The villain, Ethan Hawke, I can't remember the name of the villain he's playing. Ethan Hawke is a powerhouse actor as well, and he's got something. You could tell that his character is leading up to something major. He's not to be played with, and you can kind of tell that he's got some serious ambitions for what he's up to. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. Him putting the glass in the shoe at the beginning and just like walking around on that. I don't know if anybody else was just kind of like, why? But I kind of was just like, okay, that sets the stage for how interesting this character is. Like, what is this dude's problem that he wants to walk around on glass? And it comes back to a big religious thing, and I think ultimately that's where all this is going to tie in, and that's the part about this that I love. You start getting into ancient Egypt and the mythology of ancient Egypt, and you're mixing that with religion and how all that's tied together. That's right down my rabbit hole, and that's a deep rabbit hole, and it makes you appreciate some of the stuff that Marvel has been doing lately, as I stated with Eternals and with this, and how far they're gonna go with it. Like, I'm excited for that. So but other than that, I mean, the episode length was good. It's nice to get some good long Marvel content and not none of these short episodes. Can't wait to see where this goes. Let me know down in the comment section if you guys are excited for Moon Knight. Is this worth the hype? Like, a lot of hype came out about this when it first dropped with the reviews, and then it kind of tapered off. So, you had the Schiller's gonna shill, but I do think this is very good, it's very solid, and again, it's something that's different. They're doing something I don't think they would have necessarily done in the movie. We are getting that TVMA style, like you saw with all the blood and everything. So this, to me, is kind of setting the stage of what we could possibly get with the Daredevil series too. So it's very big. I think it's a very big project in that sense. So, but let me know how you guys feel about it in the comments section below. Make sure and like, share, subscribe, and till next time.
Whoa, latest gators.